These 5 chilled you most this week. Countdown from 5 to the absolute scariest. Full narrations ahead.
I've lived on the Yorkshire moors my whole life, where the wind carries secrets from the old peat bogs. Last autumn, during a late night walk with my dog Bess, the fog rolled in thick as wool. Bess started whining, her ears perked toward the whispers. Soft, like children laughing, but twisted, calling my name. I thought it was the wind at first, but then the ground softened under my boots, and I saw them. Faint outlines in the mist, small figures with outstretched hands, eyes like black pits. "Join us," they murmured, their voices echoing from the earth. Bess bolted, but I couldn't move. One touched my ankle, cold as grave soil, and pulled. I broke free, ran home, locked the door. But every night now, when the fog creeps up, I hear them at the window. The moors remember the lost ones, and they're hungry for more. What would you do if the land itself called you to stay forever? I've always hated mirrors at night. Last week, I moved into this old Victorian flat in Manchester, and the bathroom mirror, it's massive, floor to ceiling, with this ornate frame that looks like twisted vines. One evening, brushing my teeth, I glanced up and swore my reflection blinked when I didn't. I laughed it off. Tired eyes, right? But the next night, it happened again. This time, my reflection smiled, slowly, while I stood frozen. By the third night, I covered it with a sheet. But at 3 a.m., I heard scratching, pulled the sheet off. And there it was. My face, but the eyes. They weren't mine. They followed me, hungry. Now, I avoid that room, but sometimes, in other mirrors, I catch a glimpse. It's getting closer. What would you do if your reflection started living its own life? Camping in the Scottish borders with my mate Alex, each in our own tent under starry skies. We chatted by the fire till midnight, then zipped up for sleep. Noises rustled outside. Branches, maybe deer. But Alex whispered, "You hear that?" through the nylon. I did. Footsteps padding soft, then a low growl turning to Alex's voice, humming a tune from childhood, but distorted. Wrong. Morning came. His tent was empty, zipper open from inside. No tracks, no sign. Just his sleeping bag rumpled like he'd been dragged. I called out, but the woods answered in his voice, "Come find me," from all directions. Skinwalker's steel shapes, and now it wears his. Searched all day, but at dusk, the footsteps returned to my tent. It's waiting to take mine next. What would you do if your friend vanished, and his voice lured you out? Camping alone in the Lake District last summer, I pitched my tent far from the trails, seeking solitude. As night fell, the wind died, leaving only silence, until the howl started. Not wolves, but something mimicking them. Too close, too human-like. Skinwalkers, the old legends called them. Shapeshifters that stalk the wilds I zipped up tight, heart pounding. Then came the footsteps, soft pads circling my tent, sniffing the air. A low growl turned into a whisper. My name, distorted like a bad recording. I froze as something brushed the nylon wool, claws scraping lightly, pressing in as if testing the fabric. It touched again, a cold handshake pushing against my back through the thin layer I didn't dare look out. No light, no sight of them. But I felt their presence, waiting, hungry. By dawn, they were gone. But sometimes, in the city, I hear that whisper in the wind. What would you do if something unseen touched your tent in the dark? Wandering the misty glens of the Scottish Highlands at dusk, I sought rare night-blooming flowers, flashlight cutting through the fog. The ground squelched underfoot, and soon whispers slithered from the heather. My own voice, echoing secrets I'd never shared. Skinwalkers, or something older, mimicking me to lure prey. I froze as invisible fingers grazed my sleeve, cold and insistent, like skeletal hands from the deep, tugging me toward the loch's edge. No shapes in the mist, just the touch circling my arm, then sliding up to my shoulder, pressing on my chest like a warning, or an intimate invitation to drown. The whispers grew louder. Join us in the deep, wrapping around me like vines. Panic surged. I ran, but the glens shifted, paths vanishing into sinking mud. Invisible grips clawed at my ankles, pulling harder. The air thickened with their unseen presence, fingers now tracing my neck. Home now, but in quiet moments, I feel that graze on my skin, hear my voice from the shadows. The lurking waits to pull me under for good. What would you do if unseen fingers dragged you into the eternal deep?